so the agenda today has both peer-to-peer debrief, and then Rachel and I are going to meet after that for our Circuit 3 professional development plan. So we're getting ready to do Circuit 3, and I'm really excited about that. And so that's why I listed them both on the agenda. So I know it's been a few days since you had your peer-to-peer activity, but let's go ahead and briefly review the practice-based learning objective and also the measurable outcomes. I'm sorry, what?
She was just pulling it over so I could see, and I
Well,
thought
yeah,
she's got it.
Oh,
Maybe this one.
I put the names on there just to make sure that I have enough copies for everybody. It kind of keeps me straight more than
makes
anything.
sense.
Emily will review with Rachel's writing process of I Go to School. Watch Rachel model reading I Go to School with 3 children and choose a scripted story from a Pyramid Plus approach resource to review with Rachel to learn more about scripted stories by June 12th, 2015. And I think you were able to do it well before the 12th. And so I just wanted to review that before we talk about how everything went with that activity. And then since Emily chose to do the pre and the post-activity evaluation as part of the measurable outcome, I will go ahead and have you fill out, at this point, go ahead and fill out the post-eval for us. And then Rachel, if during that time, if you want to just kind of review, I think it'd be kind of nice if you had a chance to review your professional development plan as it's been updated, because we'll be finishing with this one before we start Circuit 3. So if you don't mind looking over that while she does that, then...
I don't have my copy of that here.
Oh, I didn't give you a copy? Let's see. Actually, I have an extra copy, so let me give you that and get another one out.
I'm usually good about bringing my stuff, but I tell you, since school's been out, I don't carry things around with me anymore.
No, that's
I'm
quite
really
all right, and
forgetful.
that's why I do bring you extra copies. Let's see. In fact, I kept realizing I was making more than one copy of everything. As I was flitting back and forth from my house to town.
Oh, look, there's your extra copy. It's all stapled
Oh,
together
did I say
in
put
one
together?
thing.
Well, you know.
So there it is. That's both copies.
I'm not surprised. It's been a crazy few days.
Both copies
I've
are
been
right
driving
here.
back and forth from town to my house because my internet service has been out. And so it's been interesting. And it's still out for another couple of days. I'm glad you noticed that. Okay, thanks. And we'll talk about it a little bit at the end here. So. All finished?
Yes.
Great. Okay, if I may take that
one
look.
look.
Okay. So, wow, this is really good. I see that you strongly agreed with all of them. everything in number 2 for learning objectives and activity content. And since you marked that you had a moderate amount of knowledge already on the strategy in the beginning, and I understand why, because you had the Pyramid Plus training and so forth, and that makes sense. And so, and you marked again moderate. Is there anything else that you maybe thought you could use at this point, or more information that you would like?
Yes.
To really feel like you have an extensive knowledge?
I think that I just put moderate just because that's where I feel I am. I feel that I did learn a lot more through this and I have more confidence in doing it, but I don't think I'm at that, extreme level where I'm just like, I'm a pro at this now.
Okay.
I don't feel that
Ready
I'm
to train
there yet.
others.
Yeah. But I feel like I have learned a lot and I'm definitely getting to that higher of the moderate scale. I wish they had like a little scale underneath that.
Low, moderate.
Yeah.
Moderate, high, moderate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. These are some good, this is good information for me, and I'm sure too for Rachel, because Rachel must have really done an awesome job in working through the activity with you. And so, do you want to just share some highlights on the activity itself?
Yeah. She went through it with the kids. She picked about 3 kids out and read her story, and that was very helpful to see how, it worked and how she did it. And then after that, we went and she kind of broke it down for me and kind of showed me like how and why she used the word, and kind of almost of a review of what we went over during Pyramid Plus. And that was a really good thing for me. I just needed that kind of like, oh, okay. And then after that, we went and we kind of talked about some things that we would like to use maybe in the mixed age room. And then we got online and we were looking at a few of their resources there and kind of picked a couple out that we liked and kind of talked about how we could personalize it to make it individual for those kids. And
What ones did you like?
I can't remember exactly what they were called.
Do you remember, Rachel?
We did
Well,
one.
it was a lot of sites, it was
Yeah.
more like a site, because we discovered as we were looking at, because we did look at ones on Cephal, we looked at some on the Center for Inclusion, on the Head Start page, Center for Inclusion, and we looked at some of those, and we just discovered that when we were looking through them, there were some things that we didn't like. One of them was the clip art pictures didn't seem to always fit, or there was too many concepts on one page, or just looked like they're trying to cram too much in at once instead of just keeping it really simple in one topic. It was kind of more like these long all-day things. And then there was another site, I'm not remembering where it was, but it had these just one-page, almost like rebus stories. And we thought, well, maybe that would work for an older kid, but we thought for the younger 3s that keeping it simple with one concept on each page was better, especially as an introduction. And then maybe moving to that almost as like a schedule reminder of remember, the kind of one-page bring around.
Right.
So all those were really, really helpful. And actually one of the things that we did that I thought was really fun was that as we were looking, we were talking about some issues that both of us have noticed in the mixed age room, some things that we wanted to try to address with children, and one of them was helping children learn to ask for help or try to resolve their own problems by using words, because there's lots of and that's just kind of the reaction until somebody comes over and fixes it for me. So we actually found one, and this one was on Cephal. I can use my words, and what we did was we downloaded it, and then we looked together and decided what we liked. We decided we didn't like the order, so we started flipping the order around to the pages and switching a couple of the words on some page, and decided we just don't like them saying that at all. One of the things that they all said that we didn't like was I will try. There was lots of, I will try to use my words. I will try to sit still. I will try to use my walking feet. We're like, I just want to say, I will use my walking feet.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't like that out of, well, I tried. It's like, just do or don't. But there was so much of that language.
Right. And so did you notice that in more than one story? Or was it just
Many.
was
Almost
try?
all of them was that word try. They really used that a lot.
And that might be something to kind of investigate why they chose to use that language.
Well, it's interesting because even on the that PowerPoint on Cephal, they have the little tips for, and they even use that as one of the examples of a way to word it. I will try to. And it's interesting because right underneath that they say not to make it. I'm trying to think of the word that they used. They said not to make it sound like they're not committing to it. And I was like, but your words are making it sound like you're not committing to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of interesting. But we kind of switched things around, looked for some pictures, and then this is kind of the rough draft that I gave Emily, and she's been reading it with some of the kids. And then kind of identifying what things we might want to switch around. Like she was saying that it made better sense if these two different pages were switched. So we're going to switch those pages, change a couple wording things that just seemed a little awkward, and then print it out and laminate it.
Well, you really did dive into some examples and really try to make it fit in your situation in your classroom. I think that's going to be very helpful in the future, especially if you're planning on implementing it pretty soon.
Well, and that's one of those really cool things about all those resources, is that even if it's not perfect, it's so easy to change.
Right.
And so we discovered that it gives you 90% of your wording there and
Mhm.
stuff, and all you have to do is just do the little tweaks to make it your own.
Yeah, and so it makes it nice with the scripted stories to have some room to change it up a little bit to make it really personal with that one child or a couple of children or your classroom. So is there anything you wanted to add to that, Emily, what she said?
No, that really just covered it. This project really gave me just more confidence in myself
Oh, that's
to be able to
awesome.
take a story and just make those easy switches to make it fit,
Mhm.
personalize it to that kid. So I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, that's good, and I can see the level of confidence in you from the first time that you participated as a peer to this time. I can just see it, I can hear it in your voice and what you're saying too. And I'm wondering if maybe we could just add that as a need. I can make a note as a need to find out the reasoning behind the I will try. Does that sound like something that you'd like a little
It would
follow
be
up?
interesting.
Understand why
Yeah,
they
It would be
chose
interesting
that,
to see if they're very intentionally doing that and they want to make sure it's a try. Maybe they just want to acknowledge that the kids are putting in effort,
Mhm. Or maybe they won't get it perfect the first time.
and that's why they want
or-
to use the word.
Right, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my head is maybe it's because they don't want them to feel like a failure if they don't get it right the first time. So I'll put that down as a need. And then, so Emily, one of the questions here, what have you as a peer learned that you will implement in your setting? And you both explained a little bit about that with these stories and the other information that you gave. But is there anything else that you wanted to add to what you might be implementing either this year or during the summer or the beginning?
Well, I mean, definitely we've used this one, and we're starting to use this one. And I definitely can see myself using those sites even more now, and
Okay.
definitely implementing more.
And we found this one site that just has this huge list of of resources for scripted stories on the end. And most of them are autism websites,
Okay.
websites dealing with autism.
And
But
these were all sites related to Cephal or Taxi or
Well-
Pyramid Plus?
no, I don't think that they were. It was just on a Google search
Okay.
that they came up. But they do have, Cephal and Taxi were some of the things that came up on there. It was part of the thing, but it's just this huge storehouse of wording.
And, you know, and that's the good thing about Pyramid Plus approach and the other evidence-based and research-based resources that they recommend is we know that they have research behind them. And so we do have to be careful sometimes going to the other sites that may not have that, you know, those characteristics and the fidelity piece of it. So, you know, I just want to put that out there when you're looking at the sites too. Is there anything that we could do to improve this particular activity?
I thought it went really well.
Okay.
I can't think of anything.
Okay, good.
Top of my head. So.
The other thing that we did that I really liked, and it was because it wasn't something that we had to do with kids. We went to a restaurant. We went to the brew pub to do it, and that was relaxing. I just felt like that. It really
To
changed
which
it
part
up.
of it?
When we were going through the websites and
Oh,
talking
gotcha.
about the story and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, just not being in the room and
Right. And yeah, you go someplace that you're not interrupted, that's
Yeah.
relaxing. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of like lately, even though I haven't had internet, and that's been a little bit of a hassle, working out of a really nice restaurant in Creed has not been unpleasant. It was especially quiet, and you know, the servers were waiting on me hand and foot, so that was kind of nice. So, okay, so it sounds like that was a real successful peer-to-peer. And just to kind of, to wrap this up, is there anything else that you might like to do from this experience? Anything that I can help you with or find for you, or research other than what we talked about? Okay. And we talked about our implementation plan of the new skills. So this is one you want to use. Were there any others that you wanted to use? Did you want to use the one that Rachel put together?
Definitely, if I have, you know, a child that I feel really needs that support, that I would definitely call Rachel up or go to her room and say, hey, can I borrow that story?
Well, you know, something that Patty had mentioned that I'm thinking of now, once you develop one, because it's so easy, she was saying, you know, when you're doing something, Rachel, if you would just make an extra copy so other classrooms can have it. So just thinking, once it's developed and, you know, when you have the laminator on and it's warmed up, it's just so easy to run something else through.
Yeah.
It's just really simple. So
Yeah.
I think anytime we do this, you know, that we're just going to make extra copies so we can just add it to our library. So we'll just be starting a library of scripted stories for our school.
And that was a strength of
So
yours
that
from the
just really
beginning.
makes sense.
And the circuit is that she recognized that not only did she want to have the book to read, but have one in her little library area, and then eventually one for take home, for the parents to take home. So yeah, it's good that you recognize how easy that is to do with the laminator. And just, you know, helping your colleagues, helping your peers, support them in that way, that's good. So can you think of any other additional needs or modifications for the implementation plan? And then this would be really specifically for Rachel to think about the implementation plan on the professional development plan.
Not for me specifically. I guess the only thing that that I'm thinking of, if I'm thinking long term and having these out there, that getting them translated into Spanish just really seems to make
Okay.
sense as we do them too.
Yes.
Because we know that we have so many Spanish speakers who are attending the school, so.
Great. Okay, if there isn't anything else, then I appreciate you participating again. And Rachel, you did an awesome job with it too. So
Well, something she was really interested in, and I mean, it was fun because we found a use for it really quick.
Yeah.
And when it's practical and you find a use for it right away, and it just makes it a lot more exciting.
sure. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you